Nepal is a very fragile country. Geographically, it's sandwiched on a tectonic plate that is, pushing the country into the Himalayas. Also, historically, the country has been very fragile. It has been unstable. There have been periods of conflict, some 10 years of war in the country, and it's only just coming out of that very unstable time. So it is unstable geographically and politically, historically, and so on. So these two factors did not help, of course. How could you ever prepare when you've had such huge congestion, people moving into the Katmandu Valley, and very rickety, fragile infrastructure, because of all the instability over this period of time. They were prepared, but something of this magnitude, given the history, given the context, it's very difficult for a country to be as well prepared as it could be. And the Nepalese government has been very straightforward and really called on the world, the international community, to come to its help, and help is coming in, but it needs to move faster. This was a tragedy waiting to happen. We knew for many, many years, decades in fact, that something of this nature would happen. It was just a matter of when and not if. Now what is unfolding is truly an immense tragedy for Nepal. The country was somewhat prepared because, of course, it was in the earthquake zone, but you can never really be quite prepared for something of this nature. UNICEF at the moment is on the ground and has a regional office, a country office, so we have 200 plus staff, but we're gearing up to bring in even more. And we've already started the relief efforts. So it's very much a parallel operation at the moment. While search and rescue is ongoing, the relief operations have to take place at the same time. So within the Katmandu Valley, we already have 15 odd medical tents that are supporting the hospitals, because of course people are afraid to be inside the hospitals. It's very difficult to be indoors at a time like this. You have to really stay outdoors. Even our staff are outdoors. So we have the medical tents out. We're supporting the informal settlements that have sprung out because people are staying out in the open, and we're trucking in water. At a very delicate time like this, every minute counts, and water and sanitation are the first and most crucial things you have to get right, because of course children, even at the best of times in Nepal, are exposed to very high rates of diarrhea, and it's a cholera zone. So this is our greatest fear right now, is to ensure that children are getting their basic needs met: water and sanitation, basic nutrition, shelter, in these very delicate hours. The biggest challenge right now is getting in more supplies. We know that the Katmandu airport is highly congested and it's unable to take very large cargo plane loads at the moment. So UNICEF did have a quantity of supplies already pre-positioned in the country, because we understood we were always prepared for a level of a disaster, but you just don't know the scale of the disaster, of course, until it hits. So the biggest challenge right now is getting in the supplies. So we're looking at road routes and alternatives to bring in the supplies from outside. This means medical supplies. It means tents, which we are starting to deliver now to areas that we have access to. Some of the very remote areas are going to be very difficult because they're literally on the edge of mountains and hilltops, and they're very difficult to reach. And in the best of times, and now with the earthquake, it's really very difficult to reach those areas. The Nepal government has called for international help. They're quite aware that this is beyond their own capacity. They need support from the international community, and it is coming in. From their neighbours to the south, India and Pakistan, of course, are supporting with logistics. They themselves, in the case of Pakistan most recently, have had their own earthquake to deal with, so they're well aware of what is needed, the logistical search and rescue kind of military, quasi-military operations that are needed. It appears to be operating relatively well in the Katmandu Valley. The big challenge will be outside of the valley itself. The EU is, as always, a very strong humanitarian partner to UNICEF, and they're gearing up now to support with logistics. That means planes, that means other ways of getting the supplies into the country, and we're expecting much more support in the coming days. So this is early stage now. The relief efforts are underway, but we really need this huge machinery now to kick into place, because this is going to be a very, very significant aid effort that is necessary.